Lord Nityananda is my wealth. Lord Gaurachandra is my master. The youthful divine couple is my life. Advaita Acharya is my strength. Gadadhar is my family. Narahari Sarkar is my glory.
The dust of the devotees' lotus feet is my bathing water. The chanting of the devotees' names is my satisfaction. Considering the merits of all Vedic literatures in the light of devotion, I have concluded Srimad Bhagavatam is the best of all scriptures.
My mind is firmly convinced of the spiritual benefit obtained by eating the remnants of foodstuff left by the devotees. The names of the devotees are my happiness. The land of Vrindavan is the enclosure within which I keep my mind. Poor-hearted Narottam Das speaks in this way.
That's really nice.
Haribol. We don't have the calendar yet. Do we have it?
It's somewhere. Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I can't remember.
Maybe Chaitanya says what month.
It's on March 30th.
Oh,
The end of the month.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Haribol.
It is a nice song.
Who's Gurudev?
This is Gurudev. Srila Govinda Maharaja, we call it Gurudev.
And then this is Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. We call him Guru Maharaj. And so we just
That's kind of like an informal kind of like address, but Gurudev overall means, Deva means like divine, and Guru, divine Guru, Gurudev. But any guru is actually called Gurudev, but we call Srila Govinda Maharaj Gurudev just because that's what we called him when he was when he was here, so that it's just sort of like
and everyone
when we say
called
Gurudev,
Srila
we're
Guru
going
Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj. And everyone called Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Actually, Shay has a lot of questions she was kind of hoping to ask tonight.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, it's the time, right? We're chilling.
This is the Friday program.
Friday
It's a
night,
great time.
truth seekers.
Srila Prabhupada came to the West first.
Hey,
that was
let's
way-
move.
Oh, that was back in the 60s. No, yeah, in the late 60s, Prabhupada came. And then after that, he sent us all to Guru Maharaj when he was going to leave the world. He said, you go to Guru Maharaj.
So in India?
Yeah, Guru Maharaj's mat is in India. But Srila Prabhupada just went all over the world. In 10 years, he spread this.
Wow.
Like very, very empowered. And then Srila Guru Maharaj is, and Prabhupada's dearest is Srila Govinda Maharaj. So he was the natural successor of Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj named him that very, very carefully. Because he could hold this conception and distribute it without any flaw. And that is the kind of line we're in. And then Srila Prabhupada and Srila Guru Maharaj are both disciples of Srila Saraswati Thakur.
So
And Srila Saraswati
lineage.
Thakur, to the you see him on the altar there. And to the right is Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who is his guru. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is his father and the guru of his heart. And just before Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. And this goes back thousands and thousands of years. These are only the most recent of these gurus. So,
one of the principles of it's called the disciplic succession, is that it wasn't something that's made up a few years ago, right? There's something very ancient, right, that's being connected for many thousands of years, and Bhagavad Gita's spoken 5,000 years ago, right? So it's very ancient, and some of these verses are, even in this book right here, which is more modern in a certain sense, some of them are unfindable. They're so ancient. They're saying they're from like another time. And India is full of that, you know, like all of the more mysterious temples. I mean, there's no way to carbon date when they're made, and they're like, they don't know to this day how they made them so geometrically perfect. We don't know actually like where what were the people that were speaking these verses, right? All we know is that when we chant them and we kind of connect with them in some kind of way, like some kind of peculiar, you know, motion is starting to happen in our lives, and you're going like, what is the meditation of these people, and why is it relevant in a modern time, right? And then you go, well, then that's this amazing principle from Sanskrit of this word sat, right? Sat means truth, but the same word means eternal, right? And so then that means like what is true is always true, and it has to be true in Salt Lake City, in India, in Europe, in South America, right? There has to be like at the core of things. There's subjective truths that are sure, like true for Salt Lake, but definitely not true for in the tropics, or, you know, like those things. And that's fine. That's like provincial truth or relative truth, or, you know, those kinds of things. But then at the core of things, there are deeper principles, and those deeper principles need to be axiomatic, right? And so then they're saying that the deeper principles of the universe are that you're not exactly this thing, this external thing. You're a unit of consciousness, and consciousness has three functions. It thinks, wills, and feels, and it is in search of feeling, right? It's in search of that. That's why we do all of the things that we do all day long, right? We're in search of a feeling. And that's why you become like the leader of a mogul of like a whole empire, right? There's a feeling that you're ultimately after. And then there's a name, there's a title from India. It's Akila Rasamrita Murti. It's like a really amazing title for God. It means he's the reservoir of all feeling. And so all feeling is found in him, right? So there's this very kind of amazing principle of piercing through so many different layers of kind of relative things, and this isn't true in this place. And then at the very well, or the firmament of reality, is the source where all this variety is exploding from. And they're saying, if you can somehow or other brush with truth, then you'll feel satisfied in a substantial way. Right? That's the premise of this thinking, willing, and feeling, is that you're trying in all the different actions of your life to brush with truth. And then you don't need anyone else to verify it for you, because there's a before and an after, so to speak, right? It's like when your heart is cracked open, like it's not like getting sealed and stuff. It's like, oh, this is what we're talking about. So all of the things that we're doing have to be done with deep intention. Right, everything, the songs that we want the song to sing us, right? We want to be utilized by that song. We want to, when we're even like doing kind of like basic things, to do them with intention, right? And then you're going, I want to be connected actually with my life and participate in my life, and then participate ultimately not with the external thing, but what's underneath, right? And then everything kind of like starts to reorient itself. So it's a really like it's a very important kind of meditation, actually. You know, like, what am I? Who am I? What's going on here? That's the pulse of the beginning of the quest, right? And then there's so many answers, and then it's on us to try and become a sincere question asker. So. I don't know if we want to sing one more song yet.
I was going to try to sing this song because the meaning is so nice, but it's a really hard, I can't remember exactly how to sing it, but we can try it.
Where is it?
We're just chilling here. Page 300.
300.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's pretty high stakes.
Pretty high stakes.
Oh,
I'm
I
very
know how we used
judgmental.
to sing this song. I
There's
know that.
6, almost 7 of us in here. Or who knows how many others.
We used to go Radha Krishna Bolo Bolo Nisha, remember that? But you probably haven't answered.
That's great. That's a great try.
Oh, that's the one you want to try.
No, I said that is a great try.
That's how we used to sing it in ISKCON.
I remember that too.
I'm gonna try and sing it. If I heard this song sung, but I can't. No, I don't know if I'm gonna try. Anyways, we'll try. Radha, wait. Radha Krishna bolo bolo, bolo re sobai. Radha Krishna bolo, bolo re sobai.
Sikha diya sobno diya, pirche neche gaur nitai. Sikha diya sobno diya, pirche neche gaur nitai. Radha Krishna bolo bolo re sobai. Radha Krishna bolo bolo re sobai. Mayar boshe dacho beshe, dacho habu dubu bhai. Mayar boshe dacho beshe, dacho habu dubu bhai. Radha Krishna bolo bolo re Not it exactly, but it's close. Jeev Krishna Das, Vishwas, Karle to aar dukho naay. Krishna Das, Vishwas, Karle to aar dukho naay. Bolte jabe Fulo khove, ঝরবে অন্ধি বলিতায়। ঝরবে অন্ধি বলিতায়। ঝরবে অন্ধি Krishna bolo, sange chalo, ei matro bikha jay. Krishna bolo, sange chalo, ei matro bikha jay. Sakal bipad, bhakti binod, Hare Jakhono Naam Jai. Sakal bipad, bhakti binod, Hare Jakhono Naam That is not it. They're like two different tones, but it's
Close. It's
It's
close.
something, yeah.
It's something. Okay, but the meaning of this is so sweet. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna. Everyone chant. When Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda came dancing through Nadia, they gave these teachings. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna. Everyone chant. You are caught up in a whirlpool of senseless action and are sinking lower and lower. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna. Everyone chant.
Oh, so sweet.
This is a like deep verse. A whirlpool of senseless action.
If you just understand that the spirit soul is the eternal servant of Krishna, you will never have any more sorrows. Chant out Hare Krishna and your eyes will fill with tears, and your body will feel transcendental shivering. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna. Everyone chant.
Now that's a heavy verse.
Simply chant Radha Krishna and join with us. Those are the only alms we beg. Chant, chant Radha Krishna, everyone chant. All the dangers will be gone when the name is chanted, says Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Chant, chant Radha Krishna, everyone chant. So, second from the right, with the big white beard, that's Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And his contribution and his heart's expression and the power of his words to show something to us is inconceivable. Sometimes when you read, like we've been reading Navadvip Dham in the morning here, and you really feel that he's taking you to Navadvip Dham, where Guru Maharaj's temple is still existing, but I mean, you really feel that you're walking along those roads. He has that type of throwing power.
And Gurudev
to
said,
bring you to this position.
if we just know all the songs of, or if we chant, or if we sing all the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we don't really need anything else. He said that also about the songs of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
I have to learn how to sing that song. That's just such a sweet song.
It's so beautiful. I love this. It's so sweet. You are caught up in a whirlpool of senseless action. Wow, and are sinking lower
It's
and
a really
lower.
amazing expression. Okay, Jai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai,
Jai.
Nam Sankirtan ki jai,
Right.
Jai Rupana Guru Bhakti ki jai.
Jai.
People spending their Friday night seeking truth and service, ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol. Alright. Oh, what a beautiful song. Okay,
Questions?
do we want to talk about anything tonight, or we can read something?
I do. Radha is,
Mhm.
I've heard the name a few times.
Mhm.
That's someone from Krishna.
What was that?
Who is Radha?
Radha is.
Okay.
Or
Go ahead.
what is Radha?
I mean, I'll just stay for 1 minute and then but when we say Hare, that is, we are calling out for Hara. Hara actually means thief. She is the actual serving, self-sacrificing, self-giving moiety, or she is that person under whom we are all trying to serve. She is the personification of self-sacrifice, self-giving, joyful devotion without any tinge of any conception of what she will get out of that. And her position is so dignified, so glorious, that the Lord feels that he must know her heart. He must also understand what it is. That so when he accepts that heart and halo, he is Mahaprabhu.
When he accepts that from
Her
From Radha?
divine effulgence on her heart, he is Mahaprabhu.
Oh,
So
so
Mahaprabhu is
they
Radha
come
and Krishna
together?
combined.
Oh.
The supreme Lord and the supreme serving, loving potency together. And he's in distribution mode of giving that to everyone.
He took on her mood of love for himself.
So it's you know, a really esoteric thing, and we, you know, Krishna's just saying, the devotion that I see in you, the sweetness, the nobility of heart, I feel that you are happier than I am, who am receiving the service of everyone by millions of times. Because devotion is so noble, so high a thing. And she is devotion personified. So the Lord is the Lord, and then devotion must also be a person.
And when you say be a person, do you mean like taking on a body?
No, she is that. That is who she is.
So yeah, so to be personified doesn't necessarily mean to
Right,
be
exactly.
embodied.
Right, exactly.
And so
Not
Krishna-
that, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. That's true. It's a funny thing in English when you say personified.
Well,
It
it's
means
important to
like a person
understand
has
some-
taken something on, but it's not like that.
It's very difficult for us because we're trying to capture an essential truth that was communicated and is very understood by yogis who understand consciousness. Because we always say this personified or that personified, as if the thing then becomes a person.
Yeah.
But that's not quite the way it is in consciousness.
yeah.
We have to remember the only thing that exists is consciousness. Okay? Like an actual reality. Matter is derivative. Consciousness is fundamental. So when you're dealing with the conscious world, you're dealing with personalities. And everything has personality. Everything. So, I mean, this is a really difficult thing for a Westerner to grasp because we're so divorced from that. But you can say almost every culture in the world had some understanding of that, where like the river's a person, the mountain's a person, the wind's a person, the direction's a person. There's personality being perceived in all these things.
Or individuality.
Yeah, personality is indivisible from individuality. Personality means individuality. So, when we say like devotion personified, it wasn't like there's like a pool of stuff called devotion and then they like went and became a person. It is personal. Everything is personal.
Devotion is this thing that exists.
Is personal and is a person that exists. And we're all a part of that. So that is.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Is that coming from our devotion that we've like experienced as consciousness? Is that where that devotion comes from? That then.
So ultimately,
personifies?
when we're talking about Radha, like that's why our line is ultimately a line. Our spiritual line is a line that serves Radha. Like, I mean, it's not talked about very like clearly and openly, but ultimately what we are is we're all trying to become a servant of Sri Radha, because she is devotion. She is the love that captures the infinite. She is like we're asking to be utilized by that greater devotion. And if we have devotion within ourselves, it's because we're a potency of Radha, right? Like reality is divided into. I mean, these are like kind of deeper topics which are harder to grasp intellectually. They have to be felt in a certain way, because in the end the mind gets left behind by the true fundament of reality. And Radha is potency, you can say. Every kind of potency is Sri Radha. So potency means energy. Potency means anything that has Shakti, potency, is Radha, right? So we're a type of Shakti. We're Jiva. Jiva Shakti. Jiva Shakti means the individuated particles of consciousness that are the soul. They're still a potency of the infinite absolute. So that's why we're simultaneously one yet distinct from God. And when most people say God, they're talking about something like very far away that's, this kind of like source that means God.
Yeah.
But when you come closer to God, you understand that God is the potency and the potent. That God is the masculine and the feminine. That God is Radha and Krishna. And that is the fundamental understanding. And that everything is an extension of their play. Their loving interaction is essentially what is reality.
And it generates.
And we're all a part of it. And we all have something to contribute to it. But we have to choose to, because the thing about love is that it has to be voluntary. So in our own journey, we have an infinite set of things that we can get ourselves into. And do you want to get yourself into becoming a part of the loving, of loving reality, of loving the infinite? That's the real question. And if you do, then you're going to start moving toward bhakti, and you're going to start moving toward union with reality in that mode. Because there's all kinds of modes where you can, interact with reality. You can interact with reality in a mood of taking. You can interact with reality in a mood of fear. You can interact with reality in any kind of conscious mode. But when you move toward love, then you're ultimately moving into Radha Dasyam, which means the service of Sri Radha. So I don't know how much, but you're asking extremely fundamental questions, and this is the actual truth. That reality is the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And us as souls are naturally meant to express our individuality in some type of unique contribution that we have to make to the infinite. And that's actually the truth. We have a unique participation. Guru Maharaj said, it is the most wonderful thing that somehow I have something to give to this, infinite play. I have something to give. Or another way Guru Maharaj would say, this is Guru Maharaj, Sridhar Maharaj. Guru Maharaj would say, I am choosing to be a lover of the infinite. That's what I'm choosing, right? So to move into that direction in life is a great thing. And as you evaluate but it's all done in freedom. As you evaluate all the ways you can spend your existence, that's an option, right? That's an ideal to place within yourself and to move toward. How much of that made any sense, or is that just taking it all in?
I just go
The thing is that there's reality and then there's illusion. Another potency of the Lord is that you will not see this because you don't want to. We have a little bit of envy toward the Lord. And we want it to be the center of our own existence and the center of many other person's existence as we can. We want to exploit reality, and that's not possible. Reality is divine, and it cannot be exploited by us. So in order to be an exploiter, there's a film over reality that we are interacting with. And that is what's called material. Material is not stuff. Material is not seeing the truth because I want to misuse it. I want to be the exploiter of reality. Therefore, I can't even see it. Just like if I only am interacting with you because I think you have some money, I'm never gonna know you, actually. Exploitation creates a type of solitary confinement of selfishness, and we cannot interact properly with the truth of reality, which is that everything exists for him and no one else. There is not a second. There's not a second Lord. Everything exists for him. And when our eyes are when that illusion is removed from our eyes, we'll see only wonder. All conscious substance serving the Lord. But we want to exploit that, so we see matter. We see something that's lower than me that I can use for myself. But that's not actually true. And because of that, where there's so many reactions and we're all messed, we are bound in a network of falsities of our own making. And it's true. And when in the practice of Bhakti Yoga, those things start becoming shown to us. Like, oh, that's not honest. Oh, you're thinking like that because of this, and you have invested in a falsity by your own choice in order to get what you want. And there are so many layers of that. But that's just the beginning of devotional life. That clearing of all of that. And then coming into actual consonance with what's really truth. It's everywhere, but we don't see it. You know, just like you might be sitting on a bench with a thief, right? And you're looking at a family. Well, you're seeing something different than he's seeing. It's all a question of consciousness. But there must be an ideal consciousness. And that is to see everything exists for you. And a whole transformation comes to our whole existence simply by saying that out loud. It's all for you, my Lord. And it's hard to do that because I was looking out my window this evening and there was this extraordinary this and that going on. It was all lights and blah, you know, like in the mountains and the reflection of the sunset and all that. And I was getting all enamored, and then I had to remember, this is all for you, my Lord. And suddenly it opens up. This is all conscious substance, and it is for him, and it knows it's for him. But we think it's for me, and that just puts a shadow over reality. And that's called material. It's the same thing, but we're not seeing it properly. So we think, so that's material, is my consciousness superimposing on reality so that it's for me. But that's not truth. It doesn't, there's not one atom that was created for me. Well, who would get that booby prize? Poor atom, you know? That's not, it's not truth. We want to become part of the organic, truthful whole. It is all serving the absolute and all receiving the inconceivable reciprocation of his divine love. That's reality, and we have to pursue it very diligently. The Lord can change our angle of vision, and he does. And we think all those precious things that I thought were for me, it was all wrong. It's actually wrong when reality is so gentle, so giving. To think that it's for me is egregiously wrong. It's actually a travesty. It's so gentle, and I'm not gentle, so I'm outside of it.
Can I share something? And then ask a question.
Was that? Okay. I didn't even have that with you.
Oh, it's fun because there's a microphone on there. And they go here.
Where's the other one?
Well, about that, I remember in one morning class you said, you concluded this in a very simple expression. If it's for me, then it's material. If it's for him, then it's spiritual.
Yeah.
And that has stuck with me now until now.
Very
I think it's
beautiful.
very beautiful.
Mhm.
And then, so if we're here, it's because we want to actually feel satisfied. And Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada are telling us, hey, the actual satisfaction is in the positive plane of giving. Not only realizing that you're a soul, but you're actually giving, opening your chest and giving your heart all the time for infinity.
More and more.
And more is not enough. So, I'm gonna ask a question. I think it's a good question.
We'll see about that.
Also, I think it's a pretty good
If it's
question.
not good, we won't answer.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys saw this. Not meme, but it went viral. This bit of monkey punch the monkey. A monkey in a zoo in Japan that was abandoned by his mom, and they put him in an environment with new monkeys, and these monkeys were rejecting him, pushing him, bullying him, biting him, punching him. He was a baby. So the zoo caretakers, they gave him a toy of an orangutan ape. So this monkey was taking shelter in this toy. Like, for moments he was going to like another monkey adults to find shelter and affection, like with open arms, willingness to give. And they were like, and he will try again, and they will push him harder. And he will try again, and they will push him harder until like he got like hurt, and then he ran away to the toy to hug him, and they will record him like falling asleep with the toy. And when I saw this, I remember I was here preparing the offering, and I had to like go there like to take a breath because I felt like my heart was broken. And I was feeling like powerless. I wanted to do something, and I prayed, maybe the Lord can do something about this little monkey. But then here's the core of the question. Why do I feel only the desire to give love to someone in need? So if I want to move to the positive plane, where I contribute to reality, how can I love the Lord if He has everything already? He's perfectly happy. He doesn't need me. So how can we love Him?
That's an interesting question. Because, it's just,
Go ahead, Mark.
do I need that? My voice is so
Yes.
not very good. But, it's true that we want to help those in need, and it gives us a feeling of some satisfaction. But actually the Lord is the one who knows what everyone needs. Even if that monkey, for example, the monkey, found someone who would take care of him, that is not his satisfaction. When we come into a higher understanding of what is the need of the soul, it must be, as we were saying, as Rani was saying, it must be sought, because we are eternal. Our satisfaction is not going to be in a temporary situation. That doesn't mean that we don't feel compassion, because we've all known what that feels like. We know what that monkey's feeling, don't we? We know, because we've been in that situation. But the ultimate solution is not to be in the plane of action and reaction, which brings about all these different kinds of situations by which we have to learn some hard lessons due to some kind of selfish miscalculation in the past. So we have to learn to give our heart to the supreme source of all heart. He is love personified. We are tiny drops of that, little microscopic like drops of that. But he is looking for us. It's not a question of need. Here it's a question of need. We are trying to survive. There it is a question of love. It has no requirement on his part. It is absolute love. It's not, well, I love you because I need something, stuff from you. That is our material consciousness. He doesn't need anything from us. It's causeless. He doesn't need anything from us. He's not loving us because he needs something. That's our mentality. He's loving because that's his nature. That's who he is. That's who reality, the absolute infinite reality is. He is that love that we're actually looking for and bringing out that own unselfish love potential in our own hearts that doesn't have that thing where I love you because I need this from you and I need that from you. This is on a whole other plane of existence. It's actually pure love. It doesn't have that other stuff in it. So we are trying to come to a position where we are participating in that with no motive except to give. And Guru Maharaj said, give heart and get heart, but the Lord's heart is not an ordinary heart. So what is the qualification for awakening this type of love in us? This is the only thing to search for. The only thing worth trying to come to. Is that something?
Definitely something. If I have the eyes to or the ears to hear this.
Yeah, like I love my mom because my mom gives me a house and she gives me some food and and she's always nice to me and I love her. And I love you, my son, because you're my son, you came from my body, but these things are temporary.
Correct. So I'm going to try to redefine the question. I don't know if you, Idea, you heard the question. Well, the question was, why do I feel more genuine desire to give, to love, to embrace someone in need? Like, for example, Punch the Monkey. I don't know if you saw this.
The monkey's in like a cage of other monkey, and on all the other ones, monkeys reject him.
Bullying him.
It's like a famous clip. It's really heartbreaking. And they're bullying him and rejecting him, and he just wants affection, and then he has to like hug this little monkey doll, and he like goes and withdraws and like just hugs his doll, and you feel like literally heartbroken just watching it.
And the Vaishnavas feel like that.
But anyways, just let him finish answering the question.
Yes, and then the scriptures, they're telling us every week, all the time, just worship the son of Nanda. I love him. But, I mean, he has everything. He's not in need. Where's my consciousness is at? Why do I feel more motivation to love someone that is in need, that is suffering, that needs a friend, and not loving the one who is like...
This is the argument. I mean, it's a version of the argument that when Guru Maharaj was a young man, he renounced everything and he was preaching in Madras, and he wanted to collect some funds to make a temple in Madras in central India. And he went to the governor there and he told him, and the guy said, as long as one person is hungry, I will never give money for a temple. As long as one person is hungry, I'll never give money for a temple. That's what the minister told him. And then Guru Maharaj quoted Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, when I was an elephant, I ate an entire jungle, and hunger remains. And when I was a pig, I ate a mountain of stool, and hunger remains. So what is the cure for hunger? That's the question. And of course, Guru Maharaj quoted Bhagavatam when he said that, and with his own words, he pierced the man's heart and he began to cry. And he says, Swamiji, I believe in God. But this is the question. It's not bad to feel compassion for people. Mahaprabhu is full of compassion. Devotees are full of compassion. Question is what's the solve to the problem? Right? There's a problem in the relationship with reality that's actually the root problem. And how are you really going to help someone? Right? How are you really actually going to help someone? There has to be help in the conscious plane. Right? Not to say that help of someone who's hungry, giving them some food is not compassionate. But in the end, if there's not some type of conscious change, that will always be the situation. Always, 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 always. Right? The root cause is a misrelationship, a broken relationship with reality. That's the root cause of this suffering. So it's not to say don't have compassion for someone, but it's to say that the broken relationship of selfish, exploitive interaction with reality is always going to have that negative side. Always. And so if you want to really help someone, you have to help them by stopping them from harming themselves over and over and over and over and over again. Right? Like there's a pattern that has to be broken, you know. And in the world of exploiting matter, sometimes it's considered, you know, the wording that's used is a mahadavagni, a forest fire of exploitation. You're always in a state of stress and dissatisfaction and being burned by the constant desires for this not to happen, desires for this to happen, desires to have this, desires to not have that, whatever it might be, right? It's just a burning constantly. And many people reach the conclusion that the best thing to do is to manipulate the environment so that I have every single thing I want and I have nothing that I don't want. And that becomes the quest of most people's lives. And of course, they're always in a state of stress because there's always keeps happening things they don't want. There's always keeps happening things, you know, not getting the things they do want, right? There's always this state of like imperfection within the world they're trying to build, right? This lack of security. Because they don't know who they are and they don't actually understand what the root cause of their own desire is. Right? So that's one side. If you actually want to help someone, you have to alleviate them from material consciousness. It's very important to understand this, and not only that, to feel this inside. It's not a theory that your satisfaction is going to come from being in relationship with the Lord. And when you're in relationship with the Lord, you can be in extremely difficult circumstances and be perfectly fine. So that you have to understand like something very profound. My happiness is not in any way tied to me getting things on this relative plane. It is not. But that has to jump out of theory. Otherwise, you're just going to be captured in the cycle of your own small animalistic experiences and be constantly trying to adjust the little things that you can perceive within your sphere of reality to try to achieve this absolutely immutable thing called happiness, right? It's a mystery. And now, I mean, you could say people who are actually advanced psychologists, they start talking about happiness and it's like, it has nothing to do with your circumstances. You know, I mean, I've heard multiple psychologists at this point say, happiness just comes, right? That's sort of like their conclusion. You can have all the stuff, you can have all the, you know, thing, and you could be completely unhappy. And then you could just be like by yourself and maybe you haven't eaten in 2 days or whatever, and all of a sudden you're just happy. And you're like, oh, the happy, how did I get that? It's gone. You know, right? Like, and that is not even like a deep level of happiness. But to really reach the true conclusion, which is happiness is a person, very, very few understand that. Very, very few. But it is the truth. So if you want to help someone, you have to connect them to that person. And to say the Lord is not in need, well, that's, in one sense, it's true. In another sense, he is the connoisseur of love. He wants love. That's why we exist. And if you want to actually love reality, love God. It said in the scriptures, if you want to water the tree, you have to water the roots. So the root of reality is God. When you serve God properly with love for all those beings, then all those beings will be nourished in a level that you even fully don't understand. Right? You want to help that monkey, help him by worshiping the Lord. The Lord can grant the true thing that monkey needs. You're guessing what that monkey needs. Right? You're just guessing. You don't know what that monkey needs. You don't know all his lifetimes that led up to him being a monkey, and you don't know where he's going. You're taking a snapshot of a very, very long movie and making a judgment. And that judgment is almost always going to be wrong. I don't want to say it's always going to be wrong. I'm going to say it's really, really almost always going to be wrong. Okay, because I don't know if you might be right sometime. But for the most part, you're not judging things as they are. You're judging things from the same frame of animalistic experiences that got us in our position as well. Right? We're in a state of not getting what's actually happening. We don't even know who we are. You know what I mean? We look in the mirror every day and we go, okay, well, that's me. I'm a white dude. Like, am I a white dude? Is that like my permanent, like immutable, eternal identity? That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like you can't just go from this frame of identity and then go, I'm going to help everybody. Dude, you're effed up. You're effed up. What you think is going to be help in your effed up condition is the same reason why you're not happy. You have to actually come into contact with soul. You have to come in contact with God. You have to come in contact with real love. Otherwise, you're going to be the same person who doesn't know how to achieve health within himself, who's walking around telling everybody, guys, here's what you need to do. You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, you're unhealthy. Like, what are you talking about? Right? We have to actually know these things within ourselves. But the Lord is merciful to everyone, really and truly. We have to switch that line of vision. So when you want to help others, you help them through God, not from the same animalistic plane that you're on and they're on. You're not going to help. You're going to perpetuate something. Sometimes when your ego's in a particular state, what you think is good for you is really, really bad for you. And then you also think that thing that is really, really bad for you that you actually want, so you think it's good for you, is good for others. So then you go to help others by giving them that same poison that you want, and you're not helping them. You have to come to another plane. Otherwise, you're just perpetuating a cycle. Right? You're perpetuating a cycle of that's what samsara means. Samsara means you keep cycling. You go up, you come down. 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 Right? It's not actually a fulfilling existence. You have to go to another level. And it's really actually the truth. You know, and you know this within yourself. Because who doesn't have a story where you can look back and go, ooh, that really hurt in my past. And ooh, that really hurt. And also, I'm really afraid that's going to happen again. And every single one of us has that story. How do you harmonize that within yourself? You have to find out the truth. Can you take that thing and offer it up as a sacrifice to God? The last thing your ego wants to do? Can you actually go back in and instead of covering it all up, dive right into it and see what kind of jewel is there inside that pain? Can you see that some mercy came to you in the form of something that your entire egotistic structure did not want? You have to know the truth of that. Otherwise, you're just going to be BSing everybody you meet. Oh, no. You have to arrange the world so that that thing that you didn't want to have happen will never, ever happen. That's the solution. That's the worldly solution. I'm just going to arrange the world. And actually, these things keep happening because these people are bad. This is the story of the world. These things are happening because these people are bad. Well, sheesh, what are we going to do about that? Guess we got to get rid of them. 200 years later, those people back then were crazy. They killed all these other people because they thought these other people were bad. See, those people are bad. We got to kill them. You know what I mean? It's just like, you're not going to get rid of it. It's not like this thing, oh, it happened because of that. Now I'm going to get rid of it. Now that thing will never happen to me. It's like, you are causing it by your own screwed up relation with reality. You're causing it. But you can't even see it. How am I causing the thing I don't want? It's so hard to see it. But you have to frickin' see it. You have to see it. You have to get to a plane where you can actually help people. Otherwise, you're just
action and reaction.
You're just literally energizing in the plane of the same samsara.
There's a quote by Srila Saraswat Thakur who says, "There's no lack in the entire world other than the chanting of the Lord's name." And I was so disturbed by that sentence when I was younger. I was like, what are you talking about? There's people that are like thirsty, and there's disease, and there's like lack of food, and they're starving. I was so bothered. And I just kind of like, the only thing that there's lack of is love of God. You know, like, because it's a strong sentence, you know, you're starting to go like, well, and I remember it, like, it's good to pay attention to the things that kind of like niggle at you a little bit, because it's going to help you understand some of your own internal dialogues that are happening. So I have an old habit of, I'll just leave things on a simmer, you know, and it's like they don't always get like resolved necessarily in one, you know, kind of moment, but it's on a simmer in the back going like, really? The only thing we're lacking is a chanting of the Lord's name? Like, I can think of a lot of things that are lacking. Like, the whole world feels like disproportionate in so many values. So this is on like a simmer through many years of my life. And sometimes when you come into like the proximity of like great corruption, it's just like this kind of shocking experience, right? Because you're thinking like, well, all we need to do is just like donate more rice and water to this place that doesn't have rice and water, and like then they won't be starving, because starvation is such a like shockingly terrible human experience. And then like 3% of those donations make it to the people, and then 97% go to like who the warlords are of that region. And this is like a super common occurrence, sadly. Like right now, it's just as common as it was 30 years ago and 100 years ago. And there's different kinds of consciousness in different kinds of places. And then you start to go like, well, what is Saraswati Thakur talking about? What has to happen is a change in consciousness. It doesn't mean that you don't take a stand in some type of way in your life, right? There's a reason. The Guru Maharaj loved, God helps those who help themselves, and very much like that sentence, man proposes and God disposes. It's like if I'm walking down 7th, and like there's some older lady who's getting mugged, I'm not just gonna be like, well, that's her karma. It may be her karma, but at the minimum I should call 911. If I'm like stronger than that person, I'm probably gonna like, you know, drive over. So like, if you see something good you can do in a moment, you have to do that, because it's really like the danger of like the expressions of karma are sometimes that you lose some empathy right? So like you can see all of these different kinds of songs. They're not saying like, well, you guys are so dumb and that's why you're here to suffer forever. That's not what the scriptures are saying. They're saying you're actually boiling in like desire that's like taking you over, and let me tell you some good news. But that's not like they're not saying it in the way like you can't, connect with this, and there's a lot of affection. And if you think about like the world of, prasadam is think about it. We call it prasadam, means literally mercy. In the temples in India, they will serve literally millions of plates of prasadam on festival days. There will be veggies like to the ceiling. I've never seen that veggies could be hitting the ceiling, and they really can. And even in Russia, when they would do the big festivals prior to this war happening, when they were cooking, I've never seen that you can have like multiple levels of stories of chopped veggies going on. And then in the back, there's these pots, and they literally look like shovels, and they're pouring buckets of oil and buckets of spices, buckets, like human bucket into like this thing. They're cooking on this huge scale. So like you can say like all temples, really, they do have some kind of merciful vibration that's coming from them. And, like people know that, and they know not every single person is going to necessarily go inside a temple, but they, all the locals know when it's a festival day and they're coming, and there's this like mercy distribution, you can call. So there's different kinds of calls in your life, but at the core of it, there has to be a change in consciousness. There has to be a change in consciousness. Whether it's our job to change that other person's consciousness or not, that's a question mark. The advice of the scriptures is that the inward looking eye, to exert the energy of change on oneself has the most substantial effect on your life. And I find sometimes there's that quote, it's quite nice. It says, that which is most personal is most universal. So somehow or other, when we can actually make some change in ourselves, it has a strange effect on like the way that we perceive everything and the way that we continue forward, right? Doesn't mean that we deaden ourselves to different things, but there has to be a look of, I also need to go through change. Because the danger when we want to change everything in the environment, and it's like a little ego ninja trick, it really is. It's just kind of like, because we can get consumed by it, right? Like you can literally spend from the moment you open your eyes till the moment you fall asleep thinking about how everyone else needs to change. And it's not a very healthful place for the mind, right? It is literally inflammatory. When I say inflammatory, like in the old scripture, it says your mind like will feel hot. Like you feel like versions of anger, right? Because when desire is thwarted, anger arises. And so like if we don't want to become an angry person, we shouldn't worry all the time about what other people need to do. It's important to think these things, even sometimes with people that we very much care for. If you're like a parent or something, like you're obviously invested in your kid's life. But even then, it's like they've got to make their own decisions. You can't spend your whole life like, oh, left there, pick up that. You're going to go crazy even with your kids, like what to speak of other people. So that's kind of a wide-ranging, multifaceted answer because it is a wide-ranging question, right? We have to find our spectrum of contribution to reality. And if you think about the difference between like the inflammatory thought process of like all the ways everything needs to change versus I'm here to give, and we start to contribute to it, and we start to let it work on us, and we start to kind of propose to the environment something, it's a little softer in its engagement with reality. And so many transformations are possible. And then funnily enough, sometimes some of these things that we're meditating on, we get to participate in different levels, right? There is a heart's calling. Some people really do feed thousands of people as their life's calling. There's so many devotees that went to the Ukrainian border and were doing like literally like 500,000 plates of prasadam a day to people that didn't have food. That's very sweet, and they felt that calling to feed people, So what your calling is to try and assist, the Lord knows. And we're trying to become sincere for what our contribution to reality is, right? So, and then in the midst of that, also having an inward eye, you know, and knowing we're gonna leave this place, you know, there's a lot of stories that are all happening at the same time, you know. Sometimes we get stuck on different tracks and loops, and we have to spend some time there meditating on that thing.
And there was a devotee of Mahaprabhu. There was a devotee Mahaprabhu named Murari Gupta. And Murari Gupta was a physician. And when he would treat his patients, he also gave them love of God. Because that's, he was Hanuman. He's very powerful devotee, an eternal devotee. And so whatever we do, like Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give in charity, whatever you do something, but do it for me. And then Krishna, Guru Maharaj says, you do whatever you do, you offer it to the infinite, and he will mold it in his own way and give the result, which will be so magnanimous, so magnificent, far beyond what we can conceive of. So he is the center, and without consciousness of the center, what we will do will be sporadic, and what does he say in the Gita? Will be all unified. Splayed. This over here, and that fix that over here. But when we offer everything to the center, then everything is harmonized. Srila Prabhupada used to say, if you throw a stone in the water, then all these ripples, these circles come out. But the center is the center, and if you're throwing this and this, then they all become conflicting and this and that. But we have to understand that harmony must know where the center is. If we don't know that, we don't know anything. And we cannot make harmony. It will always be, this person is getting something instead of this person, or at the cost of that thing. We can't work it, like you're saying, we can't work this out. But by serving the Lord, everything is automatically harmonized, and the greatest good is there for everyone. This is a fact. There is no way around it, and there's no reason to look for a way around it, even though we've been doing that for a very long time.
Divya, what were you going to say? All right, so feedback, guys. Let's hear. Feedback, Harded. Don't tell me like, I will never feel sorry for anyone in my life again. No, I'm kidding. Like, obviously, like, compassion is there, melting with compassion, yes.
No, I feel like I was extremely humbled tonight.
No.
And I think I want to know more how to love God, to cure myself first.
But you have your own experience, sorry, Dave. Like, we all have some type of experience of a mystery. Because there's not one of us that's coming in without pain. Everyone has pain in their life. And pain is a very funny thing. Because it makes us desperate to find something real. Because pain hurts. Pain makes you sincere, I guess is maybe a way of saying it. Because in the end, you're done with the BS and the games. And there has to be, in the moment of a real person of progression's life, there has to be a moment where that thing that we don't want to feel, that we don't want to face, that we don't want to deal with, that we don't want to be surrounded by, the circumstance we're in, whatever it might be, that thing is engaged with in a different way. It has to happen. where we're hearing these things. God is good to you. This situation's good. And your entire animalistic ego is going, no, it's not. Right? And then you turn into it and you take the leap of faith. That's the leap of faith. The leap of faith is, I'm going to let go of my own BS and I'm going to trust that God is loving me right now, even though I don't like it. And you have to feel the relief that comes from turning whatever that is up to the Lord as a sacrifice and trusting. I'm going through this. I'm going to endure this. I've now dropped all my junk and I'm going through this. I trust. Every part of my old self knows that it's going to die. And it's screaming out, and I'm turning into this. And suddenly, there's a jewel of progression that I find. And I realize that it really is all good. And I realize God does love me. So much more than I even know how to love myself, because I don't even know what myself is. And when you know that, then you have 2 feet to stand on. You can now interact with reality in a different way. The same reality, but a different you. And that is the feeling of progress. And when you feel progression, then you know you're onto something, right? Especially progression that not only your own ego, but every ego in the world around you is going, no. And then you turn into that thing that everyone and everything says no to. And you see, oh wow, something else is happening here. Now you know something. That's just the bottom line. You have to experience that in your life to some extent. And then the next time it happens, you trust it a little bit more. And you're able to turn into it quicker and with a little less resistance, a little more hope. And eventually all that junk is gone, right? When you experience that, then you experience something that's actually helpful. And then you can help others in a proper way. Because it's the same thing. I mean, it's not exactly analogous, but it's fairly analogous. Mm-hmm. The guy in the street who's addicted to alcohol, what's he going to want? Give me some alcohol. Buddy, please, give me some alcohol. Right? And you'd be like, well, I'm feeling charitable. Here you go, bud. It's like, are you really being charitable right now? Well, if you extend that a little bit out to a conscious position, what's actually helpful to someone, you should feel your confidence dropping a little bit in actually being able to know that for someone, right? You actually don't know exactly what's helpful for someone, right? Let's say your sister's having problems. You don't actually know what her problems are. You don't actually know why she has those problems. If you're not taking shelter of God and worshiping God before you try and help your sister or your brother or whoever it is that you love, you're just going to be operating from your same guessing standpoint that you are with yourself. Or you're just guessing. If you want to be utilized to actually help that person, you have to connect to the Lord. And then maybe deliver that person some actual help. You can be used, right? That's what St. Francis is saying. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Anyone see Brother, Son, Sister, Man? Mm-hmm. Lord, make me an instrument. Come Come on now. No, but for real, like, it's actually, why is he saying that? Because I don't know how to help you, but I want to. So Lord, make me your instrument in helping this person, right? Then you may deliver some real help. And you will deliver some real help. So it's not that compassion should go away. It's just that
Wisdom.
the level of compassion gets deeper. Okay. Jaya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Guru Gaur Chandra ki jai. Very cool people on Friday night ki jai. Itai Gaur Premanand.
Jai Saraswat Prabhu ki jai.
Sure.
Oh, there's Prashanam in the back room too.
We have already done a little.
We did a thing.
Yeah, is it heating up? I'm not sure if it's heating. Yeah, it's heating up. Yeah, there was a lot of it that was filed. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. 66. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Hey Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Giridhari Gopinath Madan Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Hey Radha Rama Shiva Sadi Gaur Hari Nam Sankirtan ki
Jai.
Shri Guru Gaurachandra Giriraj Ju ki
Jai.
Shalati Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Shri Rupadula Guru Varga ki
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Jai Shrimati Tulsi Devi ki Jai.
Jai.
Friday evening discussion and puja
Ki Jai.
Jai.
ki Jai. And very good questions. Guru Prabhupada pointed out that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the question by Parikshit to the sages was so much appreciated by the sages. That this is a very good question and it benefits the whole world. So good questions are very auspicious. Probably you had 25 more, but you got through one anyway.
Yeah.
She starts out with who is Radha.
And the glories online. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Prabhu. Sita Devi.
Good stuff, right? No, I have to be
Everybody
patient,
else.
you know, I have to let it come.
Thank you so much for
and,
being here.
like wash over me and come in bits and pieces.
That's what we're all doing.
But I get, I want to know it all.
Yeah. No, it's a great question.